This is the new Dacia Striker, and in this video we'll be telling you what it is, what you get for your money, and most importantly, how it stacks up to its rivals. Stick around. So when Dacia launched in the UK back in 2012, they very quickly gained a reputation for selling cars that were simple, durable, and of course affordable. Cars like the Duster and Sandero really helped them get their foot in the door, but in more recent years we've seen the lineup expand to include cars like the Jogger 7-seater, the Bigster family SUV, and the Spring EV. And this Striker is the next step in that expansion. On first glance, it's an estate. Well, really, it's more of a family hatchback. In fact, actually, it's more of a family SUV. To be honest with you, the Striker is a bit of an in-between. You see, you get some rather rugged SUV-like features in the styling, the sleeker stance of a family car, and the overall length and boxiness of an estate. And that means that the Striker rivals just about everything from the Citroën C5 Aircross and MG HS to the Kia K4 and Skoda Octavia estate. Now, the Striker styling is distinctly Dacia. You get these real raised muscular ridges all over the wings and bonnet, and plenty of black plastic over the wheel arches and bumpers for that real rugged look. But that's not to say the Striker doesn't have any design elements of its own. Take, for instance, these T-shaped headlights, which span from the grille down to these side air intakes. And it's the same story with the lights at the back. And in typical Dacia fashion, you get plenty of practical features like these roof rails, which make it far easier to fit a roof box for those long holiday journeys. Anyway, let's talk power options, because UK buyers will be able to choose between two from launch. This includes the Hybrid 155, which is an option we've already seen in the more SUV-like Bigster. As the name would suggest, it's a full hybrid which comprises a 1.8-litre petrol engine and an electric motor. Now, working together, they produce 153 brake horsepower, which is respectable. But the real draw to this version of the Striker is Dacia's claim that 80% of journeys that take place in the city are ran entirely on the electric motor. Now, Dacia hasn't shared any official fuel economy figures just yet, but if that claim's true, you won't be visiting your local petrol station too often. But let's say that you want a Striker that's capable of going off the beaten track. Well, there's good news, because it will also be available with four-wheel drive. And it does it in a rather unusual way. The Hybrid 150 4x4, as it's called, uses a 1.2-litre petrol engine to drive the front wheels and a disengageable 31 brake horsepower electric motor to drive the rear wheels. Producing 148 brake horsepower in all, this version of the Striker has 5 driving modes for tackling different types of surface, and on the top trim, hill descent control. Now, of course, we'll be looking forward to driving this version of the Striker in rather rough and ready conditions when we get a chance. Now, if you've sat in just about any Dacia before, you'll know that their interiors tend to be simple rather than plush, and the Striker is no exception. Alright, you get some nice soft-touch materials on parts of the doors, the dashboard, and this central armrest, but the rest is hard, scratchy plastics. At least the design is quite unique, and you get physical buttons, which immediately gives the Striker an edge over the Skoda Octavia. In that car, you've got to delve into the touchscreen every time you want to adjust the air conditioning, which can be a bit of a faff when you're driving. Speaking of which, every Striker comes with a 10.1-inch touchscreen which runs the latest version of Dacia's infotainment system. It's a nice intuitive system to use with big buttons that are easy to tap on the move, and this latest version comes with real-time traffic information. But if you're not keen on it, all Strikers come with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And speaking of screens, the driver's display in the Striker is quite unusual because it's fitted up here, projecting down onto a piece of clear transparent plastic to give an effect like a head-up display. One rather handy carryover from other Dacia models are these U-clip mounting points. In case you don't know, they allow you to fit all manner of accessories available on the Dacia website, priced from about £10. There are 9 mounting points throughout the Striker's interior, all of which can be used to fit things like a torch, a cup holder, a storage net, or even a smartphone holder with a built-in wireless charger. So there's plenty of features, but what about space? Well, thankfully, the Dacia Striker has a lot of room for tall passengers like me, and the driving position is generally good too. The pedals line up nicely with the steering wheel, and the pillars are on the slim side, so you get a good view of the road. In terms of storage options, well, these door pockets are a little on the shallow side, but to make up for it, you get a rather nifty center console. Lift this section up, and you get 6.7 litres of storage space. Put it back down again, and you get a slide-out drawer, perhaps for a mobile phone that you want to keep secure. You also get, of course, a wireless phone charging pad and 2 cup holders buried deep in here, which are removable, so you can mount them onto a U-clip point throughout the interior, or if you've got a rather short bottle, you can stack them and then put them back in, a little bit like Lego. And it doesn't stop there with the Striker's nifty features. Say you come out to your car on a cold winter's morning and discover that the windows are covered in ice. No problem, you just open this door and reach for the ice scraper, which is built into the side of the dashboard. And say that you've got a passenger who likes to charge their phone up on the move, but you hate the idea of cables running here, there and everywhere. Dacia have thought of that as well by giving you a tiny little hole here on the dashboard to poke the cable through. So while the Striker's interior isn't as plush as, say, a Kia K4's, it's definitely got enough tricks to it to stand out from the crowd. Now, I'm 6'2" and I've got the seat in front of me set up for my typical driving position. Even so, there's still a bit of a gap between my knees and the seat back. Underneath the seat, there's enough space to slide my feet into, and slouched a little bit, I do have a decent amount of headroom. I don't think it would feel quite as roomy in here if there were 3 passengers, and that middle passenger would feel rather unlucky because they've got to straddle a central tunnel. You do get a few nice odds and ends though. 2 air vents, 2 USB-C charging points, 3 of those U-clip mounting points, some rather small door pockets, and if we fold this down, an armrest with 2 cup holders. So overall, plenty of space for 2 rear passengers, but if you want a bit more room, check out the Skoda Octavia estate. But does that mean that there's no room left for your luggage? Well, not quite, but before we go into figures, here's a magic trick. No hands, no gestures, but because I'm stood near to the tailgate and standing still, it knows to open it for me, which is quite useful if your hands are full of shopping. Anyway, onto the boot itself, because depending on which version of the Striker you go for, you get up to 600 litres of space. To put that into perspective, it's on par with the Skoda Octavia, which is the top of the class for luggage space, and it outperforms a lot of family SUVs, including the Citroën C5 Aircross and MG HS. Really, the only car in its class with more luggage space is the Skoda Octavia Estate, which is an extra 40 litres, but even so, you're not going to struggle with your holiday luggage. And on the rare occasions you do need some extra space, you just need to pull this handle here, which automatically lowers the rear seats. And that's quite an unusual feature to find on a car of this size. What's more, some versions of the Striker come with this rather nifty modular height-adjustable boot floor. Of course, you can raise the whole thing to reduce the load lip for when you're carrying heavy items in, or you can lift just one of these sections to reveal a separate compartment to keep smaller items secure. And one nice touch as well, while the rest of the boot is carpeted, the underside of these sections is hard plastic, which is easier to clean if you're carrying muddy boots. Now, we all love getting a new car, but keeping on top of the admin, that can be a bit of a faff. And that's why we've set up My What Car. Think of it as your own free personal car assistant that puts everything into one place. You get personalised reminders for your MOT, servicing and tax, plus exclusive offers and benefits, and expert advice on things like insurance and breakdown cover. In short, it completely takes the hassle out of looking after your car. Hit the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to sign up for free. Now, Dacia hasn't shared exactly how much UK buyers will pay for a Striker just yet. However, it has promised a starting price of less than £25,000. And if that's achievable, that would mean that it undercuts a lot of family hatchbacks and virtually all of its SUV rivals. That low price will bag you the entry-level Striker Essential, which puts a focus on offering everything you'd need rather than desire. It comes as standard with 17-inch steel wheels, manual air conditioning, and a reversing camera. But that's about your lot. The Expression serves as a happy medium, keeping things simple while adding a few extras such as 17-inch alloy wheels and dual-zone climate control. But if you want a Striker that's packed full of features, you'll need to go for the Journey. This version comes with just about everything you'd reasonably want from a car this size, including keyless entry, heated front seats, a powered tailgate, wireless phone charger, and an Archimist 3D sound system. And finally, there's the Extreme, which adds in some extra ruggedness by including rubber floor and boot mats, washable upholstery, and hill descent control to get you out of some sticky situations off the road. So, will Dacia strike it rich with the Striker? Well, it's a little too early to say right now, but we're looking forward to sharing our full verdict when we get a chance to drive it. In the meantime, what do you think? Let us know in the comment section below.